You know, one thing that has shocked me from reading recently, because I had thought I read this before some years ago, but I thought that he may have since won an Oscar. But Leonardo DiCaprio has never won an Academy Award. Now I know that award is, these awards can be very shallow, and in the grand scheme of things, they don't mean much. I understand all that. But still, I'm a big fan of acting, and it's very it's somewhat shocking that Leonardo DiCaprio has not won an Academy Award. I know there's a big push for him to win one for the picture that came out last month, I think called The Revenant, and there's a big push for him to receive an Academy Award for his performance in that movie. I think he's been nominated 6 times, never won. He's won multiple Golden Globes and different awards over the years, just many, but never the big one, the Oscar. And he joins a lot of elite company of people who have not won an Academy Award, prominent actors of the past and some who are still in the game today. Alfred Hitchcock. Perhaps, one of the greatest directors of all time. He's never won an Academy Award. Cary Grant never won an Academy Award. Glenn Close has never won an Academy Award. Tom Cruise, although I don't think of him as Sir Laurence Olivier on the screen, but he's a good actor, very good actor, but he's never won an Academy Award. And different people like that. But Leonardo DiCaprio, I consider him the greatest actor of his generation. The greatest. He's one of the best. Oh, and before I go into that, when it comes to television, Jackie Gleason never won an Emmy. Now, this is a television award, but he never won an Emmy for The Honeymooners or his television program in the 50s. His co-stars did, Art Carney and Audrey Meadows, but he never won one. And I think some of that has to do with politics too, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of these people, they aren't, not to say that people in the industry don't like Leonardo DiCaprio, but sometimes these people just don't like you and they may purposely just shaft you for whatever reason, ego, envy, hatred, whatever. But I think Leonardo DiCaprio is the greatest actor of his generation. I can't think of any movie he's ever been in that I've seen or read about that where he had a subpar or poor performance. And he's elevated many scripts and movies that were mediocre. I remember the first time I ever saw him was in, I think the movie came out in 1993, I think it was, What's Eating Gilbert Grape. And I actually thought that Leonardo DiCaprio was mentally challenged. You know what I'm saying? Like I actually thought that he was a mentally challenged boy in that movie. His performance was so great. And then, he had the biggest role of his career as far as movie success, Titanic. Titanic for 12 years was the most successful movie of all time as far as cash. Was eventually replaced by Avatar, which might soon be overtaken by Star Wars: The Force Awakens. But, he had that tremendous performance in that movie. But what I like about Leonardo DiCaprio is that he could have just become a megastar, only taking certain parts, demanded huge amounts of money for, I was in Titanic, I deserved $25-30 million. But then I remember he started doing, if I remember correctly, he actually went to start doing independent films. He never got too big to do certain roles. You know what I'm saying? Like just a few years ago, he was in Django Unchained. He was not the lead, but his performance as Calvin Candy stole the movie in my opinion. I mean, his performance was brilliant. And I remember, he was in Gangs of New York, Aviator. He was Howard Hughes. He became Howard Hughes. He totally encapsulated Howard Hughes in the extreme case of obsessive OCP, obsessive compulsive disorder, or OCD, I should say, that Howard Hughes had, and he portrayed J. Edgar Hoover, the different biographical parts that he had done, and The Wolf of Wall Street, The Great Gatsby. I mean, he's just been in so many tremendous films over the years. And I can't think of another actor in recent years who has displayed the skill and the range that he shows in his roles. I love Samuel L. Jackson, I really do. But even the great Samuel L. Jackson, to me, doesn't display the total range that Leonardo DiCaprio does. You know what I'm saying? He's just, I would put him up there with a De Niro or a Brando. He's right there. He's like the Marlon Brando and Robert De Niro of our generation. And he just doesn't, people acknowledge that he's a great actor, but I don't think that people really sit back and look at his performances on screen. And he's just gotten better. He's worked on his craft. He emotes very well on the screen. He delivers his lines perfectly. He ad-libs. I don't know if everybody knows this, but in the movie Django Unchained, when Samuel L. Jackson's character informed Calvin Candy that Jamie Foxx's character, Django, and his friend Schultz were trying to pull a scam on him. And when he slowly revealed, when he came back from the sitting room into the dining room, and he revealed that he knew what was going on, he banged his hand on the table and he accidentally cut his hand. And he kept going with the take. And a lot of people don't know is that, his hand, he really did cut his hand. And he instinctively knew that he should keep going with the shot, and that the bloodiness of his hand, the bleeding and the, just purely how disgusting and revolting that scene was, to have him smear his blood on Kerry Washington, it goes perfectly with the scene. And her cries of screaming, that was real. That wasn't acting. She really was disgusted by the blood being smeared on her face. But it was the fact that he went with that shot and continued with it. That's just a great actor's instinct. And I do hope that Leonardo DiCaprio does win an Oscar. Like I said before, a lot of times these Oscar wins are, someone may have 8 Oscars, and one actor may only have no Oscars, but it doesn't mean that the person with 8 Oscars is better than him. It just could be whatever it is, But that's pretty much all I have to say. I hope that Leonardo DiCaprio wins an Oscar. And I think that he will continue to grace our lives and to be broadcast on the movie screens for years to come.